As you might expect, Tableau provides hooks into all of the traditional kind of computer sciencey, I mean, maybe not all, many of the traditional computer sciencey control flow statements like if then else and case statements. So in this particular video, we're going to be talking about if then else, which is an easy way to make new variables based on old variables. So let's do a more, not complicated example, more rich example than we might otherwise do. So let's do birth rate and female life expectancy. These are two very common public health outcomes. I'm going to change both of their aggregates to average, and then I'm going to drag country region to detail. So we've seen this before. There's a clear relationship between these two, and if I add the trend line, I can actually see what that is. So it's something like negative 820 plus 90. So negative 820 times birth rate plus 90. So, and we would think potentially that countries above this line are doing better than they might otherwise, and countries below this line are doing worse than they otherwise might do. So let's make a new variable that encodes that thing. So let's say create a calculated field, and I'm going to call this just health, and we'll say if if the average life expectancy female is greater than negative 820 times the average of the birth rate plus 90. So that's just our trend line again. Then the value of the new variable is going to be above average. Else, it's below average. And then we have to put an end. So the syntax is probably a little bit different than what you've seen in other languages. Every language is a little different. There's no indentation, there's no white space as there is in Python, there's no curly braces like there would be in Java or C. Here it's just the if, the then, the else, and the end that's kind of controlling the flow of the statement. So again, if the average life expectancy, and by average, what do we mean here? Like what is this? What are we averaging across? Again, there's an aggregation happening. Here we're aggregating across whatever is in the view. So like in this particular case, our level of detail is country region. So each data point here represents multiple years. This average is saying if we average the life expectancy across all years. So again, it's just a good habit to get yourself into, to ask yourself, when I say average here, what exactly am I averaging? Well, the level of detail of this particular view is country region. And so we're averaging over all, basically everything that's not that. And in this case, it's years. So if I say OK here, I get a new variable called health. It's a string. And if I put this on color, that's not what I want actually. So this is pretty interesting. What it ends up doing is making one trend line for each color, which is the default behavior. And so let's say edit all trend lines and say allow one trend line per color, just uncheck that. And basically what we see then is points above the line are blue and points below the line are orange. And this is the big idea. So we can define, and again, there can be like a slight off here because I rounded those numbers. It's not exactly 820 and it's not exactly 90, so you get a little bit of differences. But again, this is the way we've presented it here. Color is just indicating above or below trend. But the nice part now is that we have this new variable health that we can use in other visualizations in order to add character or bring a new voice into the conversation, not necessarily just to show on an existing visualization what's above or below trend, but to pull, in some sense, pull that trend line into other visualizations about health or health outcomes, things like this. We have a new, entirely new field to use in other places.